Martin Butler. I'm a senior lecturer at the University of Stellenbosch Business School. The topic of my talk today at the LeadersAngle was business technologies that will have an impact on 2010 and beyond. And I basically shared ideas with the audience from a business perspective. We all understand the gadgets and the trends and the technologies, but we shared from a business perspective of how businesses should react to the changes within the environment. An edited version of this presentation is available on the website. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Professor van Wyk has really written a fantastic small little book about technology, a unifying code. And in his presentation in November, he just showed this taxonomy and said, if we think about technology in the broad sphere of technology, we can really plot any technology by saying the aspect that is handled, information, energy or matter, and the way in which we handle it, process, transport and storing it. And when we look at the future of technology in the Institute for Futures Research, we cover this entire sphere. But this morning, I'm going to talk about information, and I'm going to talk about the business perspective on the processing, transporting, storing of information as being a subset of technology. Now, this is where I needed to get in some gadgets, my favorite gadgets, just to ensure that I get everybody awake for the audience. The one gadget that has really emerged throughout the year and will continue is tablets, PCs with touch screens and keyboardless computers. And this Lenovo IdeaPad is a lovely 12-inch notepad, but you can pop out the screen. And when you pop out the screen on this device, it becomes a tablet. And those are some of the interesting things that people are doing. We all know Skype. We are all Skyping our relatives all over the world. Panasonic and LG has just announced that they will embed Skype services in their new televisions, and soon we'll be able to sit on our couches and have video conferences with our families across the world. That is a photo frame from Kodak with a dedicated email address. And if you give that photo frame to Oma and Koekenaap, then all her children and grandchildren across the world can send any photograph to a specific email address, and within a minute or two it will pop up on Oma's photo frame, and she's got the latest and the greatest photos that you've taken anywhere. Now, this is the connected world that's done to us. If we look at Apple, 2 days ago, Steve Jobs, the show pony, the marketing person of Apple, which always launches these tech gadgets with a huge amount of energy, showed the world the new iPad. It's being anticipated hotly for the last 6 months. And the iPad device was launched as Apple's contribution to the world of interoperability, connectivity, browsing, phoning, doing whatever you would like to do. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is some of the gadgets. Will these gadgets shape the business environment in 2010? I think not. I don't think the business environment in 12 months or 11 months will be completely different from the way we see it today. However, will it eventually impact on the expectations of our customers or how they would like to be communicated? These are the top 10 trends that I have selected to discuss today. First concept is convergence, and it's a fairly easy concept. If we look at the devices we carry around, we understand that our cell phones can do many, many things, and our business colleagues, the businesses that try to market to us, is starting to understand that as well. Current level of convergence is a mobile phone is a computer. A computer can double up as a television, and a television can be used for gaming and all these other things. In 2010, it seems that the market will be hotly contested between current and new vendors. There are new vendors coming into the market, and you can see most of the established vendors' market share shrinking ever so slightly. And you will see this convergence of products and services throughout the entire industry, and previous collaborators, business partners, might soon find themselves competing for the same space. Second trend is not something that is a surprise to us. It's green IT. The color for IT in this year is most certainly green. It has mostly only been preached. We look at this and we do it that. Analysts indicate that the initial uptake, which they say will be bigger this year, is really a cost efficiency. So you don't have to do it to get the credibility. You don't have to do it to fit in within your ethical or moral guidelines. You have to do it to make the financial manager happy. And if the financial manager is happy, then all these other things will fall into place as well.
And there's a huge amount of focus on this cost efficiency. It is predicted that due to current improved manufacturing processes and many other investments, that 60% of the carbon emissions of a device that you buy will have occurred before you switch it on the first time. If we look at extreme convenience, I'm taking something very, very old here, and it's the concept that we preach in the business school about what our customers, our consumers want. And the technology is not necessarily new. RSS feeds is a technology where I subscribe to a specific website and ask them to send me information around a specific topic. Google Alerts, slightly new, but it is something fantastic. How many of you use Google Alerts? Google Alerts is where you put a phrase in. Google scans, must be simplistic here, but Google close to scan every web page across the world within 24 hours as they build indexes. They freely extend this mountain of information to a service that can alert you to any term that they pick up. Mobile applications is probably the next extension of this convenience level, where the telephone took 38 years, television 13 years, and the internet 4 years to distribute to 50 million users. Best guesstimates is that mobile applications did that in less than 2 years. IT assets in organizations, there's a lot of trends that point at decreased IT assets, saying that there's going to be lower level of IT assets. These terms are fairly technology or IT-ish. Virtualization, which is the concept to say that we can always substitute software for hardware. In principle, if I previously needed to buy 5 servers, I can now buy one bigger server and put software on that to make it look like 5 servers. And there's economies of scale, there's energy efficiency, there's a couple of things. Cloud computing and software as a service, you don't have to go somewhere, get a box, take off the shrink wrap, click next, 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 and install it to use it. Even our fantastic South African success story, Pastel Accounting. You don't have to go to Incredible Connection to buy Pastel Accounting. You go online, you register and you set your company on online, and all of a sudden you can do accounting from wherever in the world, because it is rendered as a service over the internet. And that would mean that you don't necessarily need a server or a database or specific equipment within your organization to have those applications available to use for you. Gartner makes a very strong prediction. They say that by the year 2012, 20% of businesses will not own any IT assets. Pressure on IT procurement, the procurement partnerships will certainly be questioned. Our consumers in the future might say, yes, I would like to have this, I would like to have that. I'm sure my teenage daughter would love a pink laptop. And if that is what makes her happy within her business environment, and that is what makes your client happy, maybe it will not win the war on talent, but it could maybe win one small battle in the war on talent to give your employees their preference without impacting too bad on your business. The IT industry norm has been more bang for the same buck for quite a long time. You more or less pay the same for a laptop now, which you paid 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago. But the device is tremendously more powerful. And businesses are getting to a point to say is, I don't really need the more power. And if you have ability to produce more bang for the same buck, can I please get the same bang for less buck? And if you look at some examples thereof, netbooks is one of the biggest examples. Netbooks, we've bought laptops for 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,000 Rand. Now all of a sudden you can go and buy for 4,000 Rand a device that, dare I say, meet 95% of the computing needs of users out there. Onramps to the information superhighway, we've covered this to some extent. Our smartphones that we are using, by the year 2013 is predicted there will be about 1.78 billion PCs and laptops in the world, and browser-equipped phones 1.82 billion. So there will be more people with browser-equipped phones, not cell phones, we've passed that point already, but browser-equipped cell phones with the capability to access the information superhighway. And our clients will expect that from us. Our clients will expect our service offering to be extended all the way to the devices that they carry with them. The many-to-many world of Web 2.0, it's a term that I use with caution because it's a term that's abused, but for the really uninformed, this is as simple as it is. The old internet was one organization extending a message to many. As an organization, I had a presence and I marketed myself out. Web 2.0 just means it's a collective term that refers to lots of technologies to say there's many organizations and consumers that create a lot of content that is distributed back to these organizations and consumers. Coming towards the end of the trends, the world's largest brand, I remember as a youngster, we didn't go and buy a cool drink, we went and bought Coke, because it was Coke, and wherever you said it was Coke. And it was true that Coca-Cola has been on the top of many brand ratings for many, many a year. But according to this specific rating, which is fairly important rating, the world's largest brand at the moment is Google. And it is fairly evident, and I know I've told this before to all of my students and even in the refresher course, but when my 10-year-old son asks a question which I can't answer, which happens a lot these days, my 12-year-old daughter just tells him, Google it. And 2 minutes later he comes back and he says, Dad, you know that question that you couldn't answer? This is how it works. And then he explains it to me. And this is a massive brand out there. And then the fastest growing brand, also from the technology sphere, BlackBerry. Obviously driven by the huge American, Canadian, and North American consumer market, but it's the fastest growing brand out there. Final trend is security. Attacks on corporate networks will most definitely increase. We can even see it in South Africa with the vast amount of emails that we get from reportedly financial institutions. I know SARS has been prone to a scam recently where they say log in here and give us all your details. Now the human element in corporate security remains a tremendous challenge, and there's a huge emphasis on that, and business understand that passwords are simply not enough. If you have a large business and you have the key to the front door, you are very specific and say, no. Yes, you can have the key to the front door. But everybody has got a password to get into the corporate network. And businesses are realizing that it's just not good enough. There's other things that we need to do. Some of the experts have the following to say. Stuart van Graan, the MD of Dell South Africa, says 2010 will be the year of smart, automated mobile devices. We'll see a change in the way that business and consumers use technology. Steve Jobs had this to say on Wednesday when he launched the iPad. The iPad, it's not a smartphone, not a computer, but a combination of each. So much more intimate than a laptop and so much more capable than a smartphone. Right, business responses, very briefly. Keep your ear on the ground so that you don't get surprised by what your customers or your competitors are doing. Mobile applications, if you can deliver the next killer mobile app, the users are out there. If you have what they need, there's a fantastic platform. Mobile access, many companies are slowly redesigning their websites for access. Security, education of employees about corporate security, and there's many interesting technology intrinsic solutions that we have. On the IT asset side, reevaluate your assets, determine what you must own. What is it you need to have? Do you need to have that big server room? Do you need to have a whole bank of servers there? Why do you have that bank of servers? That specific product that you've bought from the vendor. Can you maybe get it online? Is it maybe better to get it online? Does the cloud computing model where somebody else has got ownership and you've got access and use it right make sense within your environment? And be very careful for long-term engagements with old paradigms. As a closing, I would like to tell you about one mobile application that somebody shared the idea with me. As you know, mobile applications are software that run on our cell phones. And the one company came with this idea and said, you know what, it is fairly difficult for us to distinguish our product being baby nappies from the competitors and the competitors. We understand there's grey import products which differentiate on price. And then we've got these premium brand nappies which are all more or less in the same price range, and they all have advertisements on television to show that they can keep 570 liters of water without spillage and those things. They said, what we're going to do is, if you buy our nappy, there's a code on the pack. If you send us that code on the pack, then we will send you a little piece of software that you put on your cell phone. And that piece of software tells you about the development of your baby. And every day you can check and see, the eyes are forming now. Drink a lot of cranberry juice, then your child will never wear glasses. Oh, your child's lungs are forming now. This is happening now. And that small little application that our users will have with them would maybe share something to them that is valuable, that they like. which has not really got a lot to do with the product that we are selling, but that's the little benefit that we have. And the cost for developing that little application to do that is negligible. It doesn't even show up on the income statement of that company for that year. That was the cost that they needed to do that. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.